Morning, good evening, wherever you might be in the world. Thanks for joining me today. Today, I want to talk a little bit about the coming financial crisis, its cause, what'll kick it off, in my opinion, and kind of where we go from there. So, I'd like to go talk a little bit about charts and kind of what the plan, what I believe the plan is from the globalists. So, I'd like to kind of dig through some of this. Let's start with the S&P. So, if we remember right when 2020 broke, right around February, approximately 1 month before we were shut down and at home, the stock market dropped almost 50%. It went from 33.80 to 24.88, so not quite half, but I don't know, about 40% or so. And I believe that another disease is going to kick this market into collapse mode. Um, and so that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So when COVID came around the block, stocks dropped. And as a result of COVID, if you remember all the money printing, this is the M2 money supply. So this is all of the currency in circulation plus money markets and savings accounts and checking accounts. So as we see here in March, you know, um, the money printing started in 2020, and boom, we had an increase from 15,000, which this is in billions of dollars, to 21,000. So again, we're looking at a massive expansion of the money supply. Um, so trillions and trillions of dollars more in the economy, which then will bump up the prices of goods and services because the value of the goods and services um, are not are not necessarily reflected accurately in the currency, but they are reflected accurately in gold. So, for example, a gold coin could buy you, rent in a gated community 200 years ago. It can do the same today. So, in my opinion, people can disagree, that's fair. I believe every single asset on the planet is valuated in gold, and then the currency is valuated in gold, and that's what's actually changing, at least in recent years. And there are supply side issues, don't get me wrong, but I do believe very strongly that the reason for the hyperinflation across the market is not necessarily corporate greed, but I believe it's a expansion in the money supply. And I also believe that in terms of food, because of green policies and people who want to save the world, as well as failed harvests, that the supply for food is decreasing. So that's why food prices are outperforming the market. So I'd like to show you the money velocity. So this is a very simple explanation for this is the rate in which money is changing hands. So as the money becomes more and more printed, the money will change hands faster because people won't want to hold on to it because they don't want to lose what they've worked for, because money is supposed to be a store of temporary and long-term value. And when inflation takes over, it is no longer a long-term value store of value, and it also becomes no longer a short-term store of value once we hit hyperinflation. Um, let's see, what else do I want to show here? So if we look at purchasing power as an example, we have a decrease in purchasing power. And in my opinion, this happened before the Fed was created, and the Fed just expedited it. So the Fed is a group of aristocrats that are linked to old dynasties from Europe and America and private banks. Um, the Fed there's nothing federal about the Federal Reserve. It's run by corrupt human beings, to put it mildly. Um, and what the Fed has done with coordination with the Treasury and the President over time is taken the wealth from the people and given it to their friends. And how do they do that? They did that by making it easier to print the money, making it easier to justify spending the money by having crisis to crisis. And I believe that this is a plan to strip the country of its wealth. I believe that the Great Depression was caused not just by the stock market, but people felt wealthy by an